Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be reviewing day number 6 of training camp for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I unfortunately was not at this training camp practice, so we are yet again getting our information from Buccaneers.com, Greg Auman, and Pewter Report. Links to all their stuff will be down in the comment section down below. If you guys are new, go ahead and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. If you are still enjoying these training camp review videos, go ahead and hit the like button and leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below about all the stuff we talk about in these videos. It would be greatly appreciated, and I would love to see your guys' thoughts and opinions. But we do have two notes in terms of roster moves before we get into the notes of who did good and who did not so good in this training camp practice. Jordan Whitehead is off the illness list now, and in terms of, making a corresponding move for that, the Buccaneers waived safety Augie Contresa, so Jordan Whitehead has officially returned to practice. And in terms of other players who were not in practice, Justin Watson, Cam Brate, John Franklin, and Chris Wilcox are still all on the PUP list, and I also haven't seen anything reported as to what's going on with Cam Gill and Will Golston, but again, I'm sure it's minor stuff, precautionary stuff at that. I'm sure they will be ready to go very, very soon as well. But now diving into some of the notes, the first guy I want to talk about is Leonard Fournette. He looked very good both as a runner and as a receiver today. He made a couple of pretty tough catches. I believe one was against KJ Britt, which we will talk about KJ Britt here in a little bit. But overall, hey, good job for Leonard Fournette. I wouldn't say that, Leonard Fournette's been quiet so far to start camp, but we've definitely talked more about other running backs like Ronald Jones, a little bit of Keshawn Vaughn, and especially a lot of Giovani Bernard. There will be more of him in today's notes, but good for Leonard Fournette to make more of an impact, get some momentum in his favor. Another player that we've been talking a lot about, or I guess two players that we've been talking a lot about, is Antonio Brown and Tom Brady. And at least in the start of practice, something seemed off in terms of their chemistry. Brady had multiple misses when targeting Brown. Brown was being pretty tough on himself, saying, hey man, you can't miss reps on here. And overall, there was some miscommunication and things along those lines. Now, they did have some very, very solid connections later on in practice for touchdowns and good catches and things along those lines, but they weren't as in sync as they could be, say, at the start of practice. But it was good that they were able to reconnect, get things rolling throughout the second half of practice. Overall, it's nothing to be worried about, in my opinion. Another quarterback that we've been talking a lot about is Kyle Trask, who, to be honest, he seemed very improved on the day, right? He made multiple good throws to the likes of Giovani Bernard, CJ Prosise, and TJ Simmons, which is a great thing to see. It seems like Trask is getting warmed up the more time he gets out there, gets acclimated to the offense. We all know it's not an easy offense to learn. Tom Brady himself can attest to that. So again, not a ton of pressure on Trask to have immediate success right away. He's going to be able to take his time, get things rolling at his own pace, and develop like he needs to develop. So overall, happy that he was improving in this practice and making some good throws to the running backs and even TJ Simmons, friend of the channel. Speaking of the defensive side of the football now, you had Khalil Davis, Benning Pote, and Sam Renner, who all did very good jobs in run defense at or behind the line of scrimmage. Sam Renner, another friend of the channel, but Khalil Davis we've talked about a decent amount throughout the first week of training camp, but we haven't mentioned a lot of Benning Pote and Sam Renner, so I was very happy to see their names pop up through the research that I was able to do from guys like Auman and Pewter Report as well. Very happy to see some of those backup defensive linemen making some plays in the run game and overall flashing what they can do. Very, very happy to see that kind of news. Back to the offensive side of the football, Tyler Johnson had yet again a very good day catching passes from Tom Brady and Blaine Gabbert. It again makes you wonder what in the world is going to happen with this wide receiver room, because Jalen Darden's been a little bit quiet the past couple of days, right? And Tyler Johnson's making a resurgence. Tyler Johnson's really been having a good first week of camp so far, by the way, but again, how in the world do you split up all of these snaps with all of these talented wide receivers? It's going to be a very, very difficult thing to figure out, which I think it can be not a problem, of course, because you can never have too many good players, but it's going to be something that they're going to need to figure out basically throughout the entirety of the rest of this offseason, preseason, and it'll probably go into the regular season as well. Like, how many snaps do you give some of these young guys who are going out there and making plays whenever you have such really good established veterans in, the top guys the Buccaneers have in Evans, Godwin, and Brown? So we'll have to wait and see, but overall, good job from Tyler Johnson. Jordan Whitehead did a very good job in his return, having multiple pass breakups, one on a 4th down and one in the end zone as well. It's good, right? It's good to see Whitehead back. Ross Cockrell was playing some safety there early on in these training camp practices. They had some other guys in there like Chris Cooper, who they had signed, who basically had to learn the playbook in 2 days. You had Javon Hagan and Mike Edwards being the starting safeties for a little bit, with Antoine Winfield Jr. being out as well. So definitely that safety position was fluid in terms of the guys who were getting snaps, the starting guys, like you name it. A lot of that situation in that safety room was a fluid situation, but with Whitehead coming back, Antoine Winfield's been back for a little bit as well. You're getting more solidarity. You're getting more of your established guys being able to go out there, get some reps, and make some plays. Whitehead being one of them. Speaking of another safety who's, pretty much made the most of his opportunities throughout this training camp so far is Mike Edwards. Mike Edwards got an interception on Blaine Gabbert today. It's his second one in 2 days, and he seems to be doing good after a small injury scare yesterday, which we had talked about. He got an interception on Tom Brady, fell to the ground, was slow to get up, but he did get up and walk under his own power. Seems like he was doing good in today's practice, and he yet again got another interception. So good for the backup safety, Mike Edwards. Speaking of a guy who we haven't talked about a ton throughout this process, Rob Gronkowski actually had a very solid day, making multiple great catches and scoring touchdowns against the likes of KJ Britt and Jamel Dean. Jaydon Mickens and Tanner Hudson also had touchdown catches during practice. We'll talk about Tanner Hudson in a little bit, but Gronk, he does Gronk things. He might not have the speed he once did, but he's still a big-bodied absolute freak of an athlete, of a tight end, and KJ Britt, Jamel Dean, those guys are no slouches in coverage, and Gronk just does Gronk things. So, hey, good job for the, just the beast that Gronkowski is to do things and make those connections with Brady and just keep that continuity of good play. KJ Britt seems to be a very sure tackler with a lot of power. I believe it was according to Greg Auman that there's always a thud every time that KJ Britt goes ahead and gets physical with, be it a tight end or a wide receiver or a running back, whatever it may be. Not in a way that he's trying to hurt people, of course not, but he's just, the physicality is increasing, right? As these practices go on, seems like KJ Britt, he's a big-time tackler with a lot of power, which you love to see that from the young rookie. And I'm going to be very excited to see how he does in preseason games coming up soon. Tristan Wirfs went up against Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett during drills, and it was a draw, essentially, according to Pewter Report. Overall, Tristan Wirfs, he's still a beast. He's still getting great reps against some of the top pass rushers in the entire league, and this will only do good things for his development. He's already one of the better tackles in the league after 1 year, and with competition like this, iron sharpening iron here, I think that Wirfs is just going to continue to grow even greater than what he got to last year. O.J. Howard continued to get back into the swing of things in practice, having some more nice catches, including a touchdown catch from Tom Brady. Great thing to see O.J. recovering from injury. I know a lot of people are excited for his return, and it seems like he's right on path to have a good recovery and be able to get back into the swing of things. Devin White had an interception on Tom Brady, which is also his second in 2 days. He also did a good job in run defense, getting a tackle for loss on Ronald Jones. Devin White, he's a beast. He's just insanely athletic. We all know how good Devin White is. And for him to get an interception on Tom Brady is not an easy thing to do. And yeah, a lot of people are again excited to see how Devin White will do this upcoming regular season, where he could make a legitimate case for best linebacker in the entire NFL. Giovani Bernard, while he had one drop in practice, it was a wide open drop in the end zone from Brady, he just dropped it, okay? I'm not going to, go ahead and knock Giovani Bernard a ton for one drop, because after that, he still did an excellent job in terms of being a receiver and a runner throughout the entirety of practice, according to Pewter Report. He really did have a very, very good practice, and Giovani Bernard's one of those guys that we have been mentioning a ton in these videos, because the guy goes in there day in and day out, and he just continues to make plays, and he continues to impress. So he's going to be another guy that you definitely need to keep an eye on in preseason. Depending on how many reps he gets in preseason, honestly, they may want to go ahead and preserve him for the regular season, but he has a lot of hype, for him right now, and I think a lot of it is justified based on what we've been seeing in these practices. Back to the defensive side of the football, Quentin Bell and Pat O'Connor had a sack on Blaine Gabbert. Again, good for some backups to create some pass rush, create some pressure, and get a sack on Blaine Gabbert. Anthony Nelson had what would have been a sack on Blaine Gabbert as well, and had another what would have been sack on Ryan Griffin, where he beat Brad Seaton in pass rushing. And good for Anthony Nelson. He has shown flashes before of good, edge rusher play. He is probably going to be slated to be the fourth edge rusher right now, with Joe Tryon making some plays as well. He had a decent day in pass rushing in this day 6 of practice. But, I like Anthony Nelson. I think that he does have flashes. He has potential. He's got great length for an edge rusher, and if he can put it all together, he can be a very solid, valuable depth piece for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we'll see how he gets worked into the rotation. I expect him to get a lot of reps in preseason, and let's hope that he continues to make the most out of his opportunities like he did today. Antonio Hamilton had an interception off of Blaine Gabbert, and Jeremiah Ledbetter provided good pass rushing pressure on the play. Ledbetter we've talked about a lot. Antonio Hamilton we've talked about a lot as well, which I think that I would say maybe Antonio Hamilton is that guy who's starting to break away in this fifth cornerback job right now. And it's not biased. It's not just because I have him in that spot in my 53-man roster predictions, but it does seem like he's making plays as a blitzing corner. He's getting pass breakups. He's getting an interception here or there. He's doing good stuff. So overall, Antonio Hamilton, he's a solid vet. He can do cornerback stuff. He can do special team stuff, and he is continuing to pop off the page, so to speak, in terms of these practices. And then Jeremiah Ledbetter, we've talked about him a lot as well. Big fan of his. Really hope that he can do some good stuff and crack that 53-man roster potentially. But he is still showcasing some good pass rushing skills as well. Tanner Hudson caught absolutely everything thrown his way during practice, regardless of who was in at quarterback. He is still battling with Cody McElroy and Jarrell Adams for that potential fourth tight end spot if they decide to keep 4 tight ends. And hey, good for Tanner Hudson, right? I feel like it's been, Cody McElroy has a good day. Jarrell Adams and Tanner Hudson are a little bit quiet. Tanner Hudson has a great day. Cody McElroy and Jarrell Adams are a little bit quiet. Like, they're rotating, right? Jarrell Adams, Tanner Hudson, and Cody McElroy are all rotating on who has a good day. One day it's Tanner Hudson, one day it's Cody McElroy, one day it's Jarrell Adams. I think it was Jarrell Adams early on, then in the middle of this week it was, Cody McElroy, and now towards the end here, it's Tanner Hudson. So these guys are really just taking turns. This is another one of those position battles that I could expect to go all the way till the end of preseason, and I would say that Tanner Hudson probably still has the edge here, but if McElroy and Adams still continue to make plays and take the most of their opportunities, it's going to make the decision a lot more difficult. So we'll see, but good job for Tanner Hudson for just, having phenomenal hands, being able to catch passes from all the quarterbacks and doing a very good job. Nate Brooks had an interception on Kyle Trask on a deep ball. We've mentioned Nate Brooks a little bit as well. He's forced to fumble here. He's gotten an interception or a pass breakup there. I'd say he's also got a decent amount of momentum for him in that fifth cornerback job. Maybe not as much as Antonio Hamilton, but I like Nate Brooks. I was happy when they signed him. A lot of people were happy whenever Nate Brooks was signed. The video I talked about his signing got a lot of good feedback, I guess, if you would, in the comments section. And, we'll see. We'll see. It might come down to Antonio Hamilton and Nate Brooks. Maybe throw Cameron Kinley, Herb Miller, D. Delaney in there. we'll see. But, Nate Brooks and Antonio Hamilton, those might be the two guys who are maybe breaking away after the first week of training camp. And then finally, guys, to talk about a young rookie, Robert Hainsey is getting better every day at center. He's not making many mistakes. Nobody's really noticing him, which if you're an offensive lineman, that's a good thing if you're not getting noticed. Overall, he's doing a very solid job. He's getting a ton of work. They've been working him exclusively at center. I know Bruce Arians came out and said that they were going to work him out everywhere, but I imagine they'd want him to lock down that center position first before they were to try and put him anywhere else along the offensive line, because you don't want to overload the young guy. But Hainsey, he's still working with AQ Shipley. He's still working with some of the backups, but there was one practice where Jensen had his vet day, which we talked about, where Hainsey came in as the starter, and he did a good job, minus maybe one snap. So I'm excited to see how Hainsey develops. He was one of my more favorite draft picks out of this Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, I love all the draft picks, but I like Hainsey. He's a big offensive lineman from a good school, and I really do think he can do a very good job at center. But guys, that's it for these notes. What do you guys think about all the points that I talked about? Let me know down in the comments section down below. It's good that Jordan Whitehead's back making some plays. Tanner Hudson seemed to have a phenomenal practice as well, and I'm excited to see what happens here coming up with the remainder of these training camp days and to see who starts to break away more in these position group battles. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.